in federal court in Las Vegas in the Bundy trial. Now, this being a hearing, this means that the jury was not present in the courtroom. However, the upside of that was there were quite a few Bundy family members who were present there. Carol Bundy was there, and it's always kind of neat to see. You have to be so careful in the courtroom. The marshals are very, very strict about enforcing rules against greeting one another, smiling at one another. You don't wink at each other. It's just there are very strict rules of decorum that have to be observed. But it's always kind of neat to see. Cliven Bundy shoot a quick smile at his wife, to see see Ammon, looking at his wife, Lisa. And I have to tell you that one of the highlights of the past couple of days was I ran into Ryan Bundy, actually yesterday morning outside the courtroom, and had a chance to shake his hand and give him a hug. And this is the first time in a couple of years I've had a chance to actually see my friend face to face and talk with him. Rode in the elevator with him today after the hearing, and you don't realize until you have been able to regain the opportunity to be there and actually shake somebody's hand or visit with them face to face. You can start to appreciate just how difficult it must be for these families to have been separated from their loved ones, for a very extended period of time. And I think we're all looking forward to the resolution of this case and to the restoration of these men's freedom. So let me bring you up to speed on what was happening. This morning's hearing was all about how to proceed with the questioning of BLM agent Robert Shilaikis. A question came up yesterday about the agent Shilaikis and Agent Johnson contacting Clancy Cox out there on the land out by Bunkerville when they were trying to get a hold of Cliven Bundy. And they had a conversation with him that was videotaped. It was actually on a body cam, and the defense had asked that would be introduced because there was some concern about them approaching Clancy and asking him if he would feed information to the government on the Bundy family. And as it turns out, that video was not where that alleged exchange took place. And the defense was given the video yesterday. They had a chance to look at it, and they determined that there was a lot of dead time. There was some small talk. Essentially, they were just trying to get a hold of Cliven, and so they got his phone number from Clancy, and that was pretty much the extent of it. So I want to bring you up to speed as quick as I can on what was happening. We did have more of the questioning of Shilaikis, Agent Shilaikis, on the stand, and this was fun to watch in that he's been a very he's a tough witness. I mean, when the prosecution is questioning Shilaikis, he is animated, and he answers their questions with no hesitation. He's talkative, and this is to be expected. When the defense begins asking questions in cross-examination, there's a very interesting transformation that comes over Agent Shilaikis. Now, you'll notice this when he's asked a question that he does not want to answer. First of all, the words we heard more than anything were "I don't recall." He said it so many times I actually lost count. To very specific questions that were being asked about the phone call that he and Agent Johnson had taped with Ryan Bundy. Also the follow-up on a phone call that was made to Clancy Cox, and the video and contact that was made with Clancy Cox. They actually played the video in its entirety. I know the defense was concerned about that video, but until the audio quality was so horrible for most of it that I don't know that it really added much to the prosecution's case. They played it. They got out of it whatever they did, but it wasn't necessarily that beneficial. You could barely understand what Clancy Cox was saying. Here's what was interesting though. When cross-examination started and when Shilaikis was being questioned, every time he got a question from the defense, he would shake his head. Even if he was saying yes, he'd shake his head, and then he would act confused with every question. I don't know what you're saying. Now, look, I'm not an expert on interrogation or resisting interrogation. I do remember reading one time about training to resist interrogation. That was actually one of the things that they had mentioned was make sure you shake your head no matter what question they ask you. Shake your head no matter what your answer is. Feign confusion. And I thought, I wonder if Agent Shilaikis read that same, or Shilaikis rather, read that same article, because that was his response. And what it led to was a very interesting exchange between him and Ryan Bundy, in which I want to make sure I got my notes on this correct. Ryan was questioning Shilaikis on cross-examination and asked him about a memorandum of activity that has to be filed whenever they have undertaken some kind of official action within the BLM. One of the things specifically that came out was, while Shilaikis was not the author of that memorandum of activity, he did sign off on it. He was an assistant, and he had put his name on it as, yes, this is a truthful statement. Well, Ryan Bundy was recorded on telephone on March 17th of 2014. The next day, he called Agent Johnson and Agent Shilaikis and wanted to know, among other things,